Welcome, rugby family, friends, and fans, to the inaugural Women's Canadian Rugby Club Championships. This is the final day of games, and we are about to start the bronze medal match. This match is between hometown club Toronto Saracens versus Charlottetown RFC. This is the first ever club championships for women, and it's taking place at Fletchers Field in Markham, Ontario, the mecca of Rugby Ontario rugby. Today, the best women's club rugby team in the country will be crowned. The gold medal game will occur at 2 p.m. today against Capilano versus Club de Rugby de Quebec. We would like to give a big thank you to all the club teams across this country who, without their participation in league play, this event would not be possible. A huge shout out to the CRCC committee that includes Davine Burton, Roger Smith, Hans DeGoody, Mike Holmes, Janice Google, Kathy Calderola, Maureen McMahon, Mandy Marchek, Barbara Mervin, and Mark Bryant. The CCRC is grateful to the following sponsors for supporting this event: Canadian Rugby Foundation, Langara Fishing Lodge, Toronto Arrows, Pemberton Homes, Sportside Medical Services, Gilbert Rugby Canada, Aldahard, Aptowella Women's Rugby Apparel, Toronto Inner City Rugby Foundation, Fletchers Fields, Rugby Ontario, and Rugby Canada. Today I'm joined with legendary Rugby Canada back row, Maureen McMahon. Welcome, Maureen.
Hi, Mars. Thank you.
And my name is Marlene Donaldson, former national team player. We are going to be guiding you through today's two final games of the tournament. And let's get ready to start. The kickoff is about to begin. Toronto Saracens in green and white and Charlottetown in black. This is going to be an exciting match, Maureen. Tell us about what you saw on Friday.
Yeah, for sure. I was here Friday. Some great matches. Certainly Charlottetown came out really strong against Capilano. They were dominant in the scrums, playing really strong rugby. You can tell that they're a well-formed team. A lot of them played together at university or have played together at university. We're hoping today for that the Saracens will be able to run a little bit more with the ball in their hands. They were really on the back foot and weren't really able to show all the strengths that they have. So really excited to see what this game will bring.
And we have Charlottetown passing out to their number 10. Charlottetown number 10 is Tara Campbell. Good pickup by Toronto Saracens as they make their way back on defense. Strong runner there in the forwards. Ball's coming out a bit slow, but it does get out. And the Saracens number 10, Albie Downing, makes a nice kick out to the left side of the field. Number 8, Rebecca Chapman from Charlottetown takes the ball in. But Toronto Saracens are prepared to counter-ruck today. They're probably looking to be a little bit more aggressive in the breakdown.
And we've got a great shot of that flat line defense that Saracens are putting out, meaning that all their defenders are flat so they can all start to come up at the same time and really give Charlottetown as little time with the ball as they can.
And Charlottetown, it really impressed a lot of the audience with their with the sort of like variety of game they played. They had a great attacking game, and they're also quite strong in the lineouts. Charlottetown takes the ball in, works to get the ball back. Toronto Saracens is continuing to be very aggressive in the breakdown. And another little chip kick. Nice little bounce. This could go either way. And she picks it up nicely. Great take by Charlottetown's. I think that was their number 12, and Annika Dykman.
I wonder if this is going to be a continuing theme for their attack. That's a second kick within the first few minutes, getting in behind the Saracens defense. So, but Saracens so far managing to defend.
Charlottetown's moving the ball really well. They're probably looking to try and get it outside. They do have decent pace when they execute those passing skills.
And you can see just how wide the Charlottetown team is standing. Certainly on this near side to the stands, they seem to have numbers out to the right.
Let's see if they move the ball, and they are moving it out to the right. An unfortunate knock-on. We may play the advantage. They're going to play the advantage. Toronto Saracens takes the ball in. Fights hard, strong footing there. That is their number 4, Chelsea Braithwaite. She's a strong, powerful second row. And here we have Captain Fidelia Omegon. She was a standout in the last game as well. And they're looking to get the ball down the field. And we have a knockdown by number 14 from Charlottetown, Maddie Shea.
Yeah, an unfortunate knock on. And you can see that even though there's an error might happen, and there was a knock on earlier on in the, by Charlottetown, but the play continued. Marlene mentioned that it's an advantage. So what it is in rugby is the play doesn't necessarily have to stop. If it is an advantage to the team, that then becomes the attacking team to continue to play.
And when in rugby in general, we always say play the whistle, keep going until you hear that whistle. This is one of our first scrums of the game. This is the first scrum of this game, and we'll see how they match up. Always those first few scrums, a little unsettled. They're trying to figure each other out. A little bit of jostling in the front row.
And again, it'll be interesting to see because Charlottetown was quite strong in the scrums against Capellanos on Friday. And Saracens have a strong scrum too, so this will be really interesting.
And the beauty of this tournament is seeing these matchups we never get to see throughout their league season, so this is great.
Absolutely.
Nice scrum by Charlottetown. They're pushing them back, and they manage to get the ball, but we see a little bit of a knock-on. So Charlottetown seemed to have the edge in that scrum. It looks like we're going to go back. It'll be Saracens' ball.
And you can see, if you're watching the referee, Breanne Freeman, you can see she's making big gestures with her arms to communicate what is going on. So when she's pushing that, like with the one hand waving forward, that means that the ball has gone forward off a hand, so it was a knock-on. That's how we know what's going on.
And Breanne Freeman is a very experienced referee. I think she's been refereeing for about 15 years.
Yeah.
So a long time. So we have a lot of experienced referees here at this tournament.
Yeah. I think Breanne must have started when she was 12, because she certainly has a lot of experience.
12. Unfortunate pass for Charlottetown, but I think we have a penalty here. So Toronto Saracens is looking to get back quickly. And Charlottetown decides to slow it down. They're maybe looking to get some field advantage here.
And I think what we'll see here is Charlottetown's going to kick for the sideline. When it kicks and goes into touch, goes out of bounds, how to get the ball back in play is in a line out. So the two teams will take usually about 5 to 7, or even 3 to 7 of their players, and throw the ball in. Players are allowed to boost their fellow teammates so they can get that height advantage in order to get the ball back in play.
And this is looking like a full line out here, and a lot of movement. We see some movements from the jumpers trying to throw the opposition out, but it doesn't quite go to hand, but they still get the ball. The ball goes back. Quick pop out to their number 10. Quick passes. Toronto Saracens is there to take the tackle down. Still possession by Charlottetown. She makes a half gap, but it's taken down by the Toronto Saracens. And they look to be moving back and forth here in the middle of the field.
And I have to say, it's great defending by Saracens.
Great flat pass to looks like number 13. Number 13 for Charlottetown, Alicia Corrigan. Sometimes that flat pass, if you get it at the right pace and you find that hole, can be really effective.
Yeah, and I have to say that, Saracens had good form in their defense. The play pretty much for the whole half so far has been down in that end of the field, and Saracens have been managing to keep their alignment in defense and keep Charlottetown out. But again, Corrigan just found a half gap, able to just shrug off a one-arm tackle and make it to the try line.
So those are the first points on the board for Charlottetown RFC. It is 5-0. With only about 6 to 7 minutes into the game. So really, Charlottetown is setting the gauntlet right now about the style of game they want to play this game. They're looking to stay fast. I know even after there were some really tiring games for some of these players on Friday, so some of the teams are still dealing with some nigglies. They're tired. But at the end of the day, it's going to mean a lot. I talked to their head coach, is it James Voy, about what this would mean to sort of win this game. And he said it's huge for the young players back in PEI who look up to these Charlottetown players. Coming back with some medals always means a lot to the young players, and it sets the bar for what the sort of rugby they want to be playing in a small province like PEI.
And I have to say, Charlottetown RFC is only 3 years old. They've formed the team. I think it was Abby Goodwin was one of the founding member of the team. So in 3 short years, they've managed to win they play in the Nova Scotia Rugby Union. They've managed to win their premiership twice. And we can see they have great team cohesion.
And they're off to a good start again. They receive the kick. They're taking it up the middle of the field. And they're going to win this ruck here. Nice take by a strong forward. I can't see her number. But that looks like to be Rebecca Chapman. Rebecca Chapman, she
Take
is
the pass.
plays for the University of PEI. A lot of these players actually play for the University of PEI, hence why they actually have such great cohesion.
Yeah.
They've been playing for a few years together, their coach says.
Yeah, I was talking to James Voice, who's one of the assistant captains at assistant coaches at UPEI, and they're on with the team that's traveled here. There are 8 current members of the UPEI Panthers and 10 former members.
Excellent.
So certainly they've all come up together. They know the systems of play. So I think that really contributes to what we've seen on the field.
So we might want to look at for University of PEI in the future for CIS championships. This could be an up-and-coming university program. So keep your eye out for them.
For sure. Their toughest competition is St. FX, who
St. FX.
really strong program out there.
Yeah.
So that's who they're targeting.
So we have a scrum from our perspective on the left side of the field. And it looks to be Saracen's ball. Again, we see that dominance for Charlottetown in the scrum, but they're number 8 and captain, Fidelia Omagon, is taking a great run up the middle of the field. She's taken down. And they're looking to have a quick ruck here, and they're moving the ball quickly. Toronto Saracens are looking to get it outside to number 15. Number 15 from Toronto Saracens, Nat Tam. Nat Tam has a lot of premier high-level rugby experience. She actually spent a season in British Columbia and played for the West Shore Valkyries, another dominant club team out in BC. Here's an angle ball. Came behind, didn't quite go to hand. And it looks to be a knock-on from Charlottetown we're seeing, and it's going to be, should be from the hand signals, which I try to read, Toronto Saracens ball.
Yeah. That's too bad. It looked like just a miscommunication that somebody wasn't ready. But I have to go back to the number 8 picking that ball up and going, and you see how she certainly ran at the centers rather than running straight up, ran at the centers, sucked in the Charlottetown centers, opening up that left side of the field. Not quite able to capitalize on it, but certainly spread the defense, opening up the gaps further inside. Just unfortunate miscommunication coming back inside.
And Mo, for those that don't know Mo, she's a very experienced number 8. I played with her back in the day in the 90s and early 2000s with the Toronto Scottish. So many a time I saw Maureen McMahon pick and go and crash into probably quite a few centers.
And turning around, and Marlene was right there.
I tried. Nat Tam has the ball. She offloads to her captain, and she is not stopping. Her feet are going. They are answering back to a quick try by Charlottetown earlier in the game, and they are moving the ball a lot faster. The ball went back. They're fighting for it. Will they make it across that line?
I have to say, you can see the strong body position going into contact, keeping on their feet, keeping that ball alive, those little offloads. Wonderful play.
And we have a penalty in the 5-meter. That's unfortunate for Toronto Saracens. They were looking like they were going to get that ball over the line. But this is where teams have to be disciplined. You know, you're excited. You're right at the 5-meter. You want to score. But, you know, the last thing you want is a penalty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But again, and we can see Saracens really using their strength in the forwards, the big, strong running, keeping their legs pumping, in contact, staying strong, in not taking the tackle to ground, making that ball available for their teammates, and being able to just kind of come at Charlottetown again and again. Charlottetown answering the call, though. Charlottetown being able to neutralize that attack so far.
And we'll also notice that Toronto Saracens made some subtle changes. They put Nat Tam, who was playing 9 in the last game, they put her at 15, and we've already seen her take a run. But although I mentioned a lot about their forwards, the Toronto Saracens forwards, we need to pay attention to their 2 centers, Petra Woods at number 12 and Irene Petrinos, who has some national team experience. And here's Nat Tam, number 15, with the ball. She gets taken down by number 12 from Charlottetown, Annika Dykman. A little bobble there, but it looks like it went backwards. Yeah. The referee's calling ball went back. Will they finish this off here? Will Toronto Saracens be able to keep possession of this ball? Looks like a slow roll there by Fidelia Omagon. She gets it back to her teammates. And off into the hands of number 5, Z Workin. And it is held up. Great defense by Charlottetown. Anytime you can hold up a ball, especially with such strong runners, that's kudos to that team.
So, and you know,
and they're going fast. We didn't even have time to comment on that. Great take by Toronto Saracens, but they get pushed back by a strong Charlottetown defense. They like to run those angle balls with their big tight 5. But now they're looking to move it up. Circle ball out to 10. Wide pass to Nat Tam at 15. And she tries to offload it. Nice cut back inside. This is some exciting rugby. Good pressure from Charlottetown. Charlottetown is really coming up fast. They're denying the pass. It's very difficult for Toronto Saracens to follow up with their game plan of getting it out wide, which I'm assuming they're trying to do, but Charlottetown will not let them do that. They're coming up fast on the outside, denying the pass. Nat Tam gets shut down. Good tackle on the wide. She
Great
takes it in.
sustained pressure by Saracens, I have to say.
And we can also look at how many phases have just occurred. Not only is this great defense by Charlottetown, but keeping the ball alive from Toronto Saracens. Sometimes it's taking that slow approach to scoring that try. And the great defense usually pays off. And it looks like that is a penalty, and it goes towards Charlottetown.
Yeah, so again, just great, I think Saracens are really using their strong runners. We saw the Saracen player get into the try zone, wasn't able to touch the ball down. In rugby, not like in football, you have to actually, the ball has to make contact with the ground in order for it to count. And so when we say it was held up, it means that the opposition players had their hands under the ball where the ball wasn't able to touch the ground.
And I know, Mo, you've probably been in this situation many times when you're so close to the try line. As a captain, what are you usually telling your team? What are you trying to say to them when you're that close and everyone's so excited about scoring tries?
Yeah, you just have to be so disciplined. Yeah, you're still working as a team. Keep your legs moving. Keep supporting your players. You really have to be there. It's not one player, it's the whole team.
Excellent.
And the same token, though, recognizing when there is space.
So we have a knock-on. We're playing an advantage here. We just saw a knock-on from Charlottetown. Toronto Saracens picked it up quickly. And they have it out to number 12. Number 12, that is Petra Woods. She, although it was a dominant game by CRQ, Petra Woods did have some strong runs in that game. Great little pickup on the side of the ruck. You can see the Toronto Saracens forwards are really trying to get in low and protect the ball. They're working in a pack, as we say, the forwards. But it'll be important for them to stay on their feet. They've slowed down the ball here. A little bit of a slow ball. Pick and go from number 5. Number 5 from Toronto Saracens, Z Workin. And now they're trying to get the ball out. Back inside. I think that's to Petra Woods. Petra Woods looks to offload it, but she doesn't quite make the hands of her teammate. It still went backwards. It was picked up by Nat Tam. Good strong drive there. And the ball is moved out. And, oh, what a hit. What a hit. Great defense by Charlottetown. Nice and low. That was a nice take by the Toronto Saracens player, but was definitely shut down. And another player back inside. They're running really short angles, really tight angles.
Yeah, just trying to suck in that Charlottetown defense. And now moving it wide once Charlottetown is all bunched up in the middle. Trying to get around those Charlottetown backs, but Charlottetown doing well.
Excellent defense by Charlottetown RFC. They're coming up. You can watch their line speed coming up. Their line speed, they're up quickly. The ball's passed, and they're already in the face of the attack.
Yeah. You can see some getting a little bit flatter on attack there by the Saracens. Certainly is grueling work here trying to...
Saracens are getting a penalty here, and Nat Tam wants to take it quick. She wants to catch the defense off guard, and she is a shifty player. But she unfortunately does not hold possession of that ball, but went backwards. She's fortunate there. It went backwards into a teammate's hands. And they're looking to get that ball. It's probably a little bit underneath a player, but they lose the ball in contact. And again, it's still a penalty against Charlottetown, so they're going to have to get back on their try line and really protect that line.
So the ball's come away a little bit. It was kicked down by Charlottetown. I think both teams will be happy for just to take a little bit of fresh air in here. There's not a lot of breeze. You can see the trees aren't moving very much here. It's a lovely, gorgeous day. Not lots of humidity, but still that field is hard. It's been dry and sunny here for probably a couple weeks. I'm in from Montreal. Marlene's in from BC. So
BC. My temperate, cool weather, cool summer in BC.
Yeah.
And number 5 is, I think she's just going to take it. That can sometimes go against you because I think Charlottetown was ready for that. They were ready for that set. And now they're trying to move it out. And again, strong defense from Charlottetown. And they get the ball back. They steal the ball out straight from the hands. Gets kicked right behind the fullback. She picks it, number 15. She picks it up. A little bit of a dummy. Like we said, Nat Tam is very shifty, very shifty. Number 2 takes the ball. Number 2 for Saracens, Sarah Galati. What a run down the middle of the field. Out to the number, I'm going to think that's number 8. Great support, great passing. Great job by Toronto Saracens to turn something that could have been a negative into a positive.
Wow, that was great play. Charlottetown was able to get the ball back, kick for touch, didn't quite make touch. Natalie Tam did a great job to stay in bounds. We saw her come just about to the sideline. If she steps on the sideline, she is in touch or out of bounds, and it would have been a line out stopping the play. Great shiftiness by Natalie Tam. Show and go. She showed the game, showed like that she was going to pass and then cut back inside. Great support from one of her fellow backs coming up beside her and then able to shift that ball off to a supporting forward.
So the key word is support, support, support. Let's make sure as a team we stay together. And that's what Toronto Saracens just did. So they really have come back strong in this. And we're now about, 20 minutes into the first half. And it looks like Toronto Saracens is like, no, we're still in this. They've come alive.
Absolutely. They had a really hard game against Club de Rugby de Québec on Friday. Talked to them before the game, and they had yesterday off. They didn't even do any training because they were just had to, heal some of their wounds, recover from the game. Mm-hmm. They had a barbecue for some team bonding, and you can see that's paid off. They've come back. They're resilient. They were down. They've come right back. The first 10 minutes were all in one half of the field. The second 10 minutes have been all in the other half. So is this an exciting game?
Exciting game, for sure.
Excited to see this. So let's see how Charlottetown can now respond to the Saracens. We've got a tied game. This is great.
Tied game. 7-7 here with about 20 minutes to go in the first half of the bronze medal match. Charlottetown RFC will kick to Toronto Saracens now. They've been playing excellent defense. But again, defense is tiring, so we'll see if they can sustain the intensity of their line speed. Nice. Good footwork there. That's number 21 for Saracens. And I don't know if their jerseys match their positions. I'm thinking, if I'm looking at the sideline, I'm pretty sure that's actually Fidelia Omagon. It's not Meg Tagulig, but I'll just double check here. There might be some jerseys that are not accurate.
Yeah, I know that sometimes certain players have preferences for numbers that they play. I was talking to Marty Alemo before the game, and she's really superstitious about which jersey she wears. So my apologies to Steph and to Marty if we get your names mixed up, because apparently there's been a switch on the field.
I'm 90% positive number 8 for today's game is Fidelia Omagon, and we want to give her credit because she's having a great game. But right now we have Charlottetown's number 13 running with the ball, Alicia Corrigan, another senior women's national team player. So someone to watch with Charlottetown.
Yeah, and that's not the first gap that she's hit, and made a line break meaning that she's able to break the defensive line of the Saracens.
And we see, I noticed even in the last game, Charlottetown really aligns nicely. They really spread the field. And we see them out wide taking a quick run on the outside.
And same thing, you can see them here at the bottom close to the stands. They're really out wide. They've got at least 3 players lined up against the one wide Saracens winger.
Ball goes back, kick to the ball. They're still moving the ball. Counterattack. Tries to get it out wide, and she does. Finds a hole. Again, that flat pass. Number 6 for Charlottetown is taking a run. Megan Larkin. Megan Larkin is taken to ground. Ball spills out, but Charlottetown falls on the ball, and they're able to retrieve it back. And a quick pass out to number 3. Number 3, Ellen Murphy. Ellen Murphy keeps the ball. Smart decision. Quick correct, moves the ball. Ball out wide, and she finds a gap, but good defense. Good defense by Toronto Saracens. Number 4, Chelsea Braithwaite's not letting that one go. Tackled by Fidelia Omagon. And they're going back. And there's some space out wide. again, Toronto Saracens defense shuts it down. Find a little half gap. Great run. Great Bosch. She's right in the middle. She's about less than 5 meters away from the try line. And we have a Toronto Saracens player down. That was a strong run by that forward player. I can't see the number right now, but an impressive Bosch. I think she took a couple players out with her. That may have been Rebecca Chapman.
And again, you can see we had, who was it, Megan Larkin carrying the ball, Ellen Murphy carrying the ball, Becca Chapman. Those are all players that have played with the UPI team. So you can see that linking. You can see that they're used to playing with each other. They have a similar style. They know where each other's going to be on the field, eh, Mars?
Yes. They play. And we have one of our first subs, I think, for Toronto Saracens. I'm pretty sure that is not Haley Karoom, because I remember watching her yesterday. But again, with the jersey changes, we'll find out soon enough.
We'll try and get that for you for the second half at least.
There seems to be a little bit of conversation with the referees. Captains coming together, probably trying to clean up some stuff that the referee is seeing. Jeffrey's trying to sort of settle the game down or control the game by having these quick conversations with the captains, send messages back to your team, get your team in check.
Much rather do that than have to keep on calling penalties, which changes the pace of the game, slows the game down, penalizes teams. So referees really do try to work with the teams to set the expectations so that they know what she's looking for. If she's seen something, we want the game to move, right? We don't want to have stop and go. So managing during a break, managing what she sees.
And we have a scrum, which is probably about, I'm going to say 15 meters out approximately. And again, it looks like PI has been a little bit stronger in the scrum. They get the ball out. Quick pop from the number 8. Doesn't look to be contested too much. Ball comes out. And it looks like Toronto Saracens may be staying out of these rucks a little bit more, just to make sure they defend that try line. Oh, and they tried to get it out wide. Just didn't go to hand. A little bit of a knock on, but it was definitely a good intention. So the knock on, we should have a scrum out there.
And again, you saw another number 8 pick. Saracens, we saw them do very effectively about 10 minutes ago. There was another number 8 pick up from the back of the scrum. That's when normally, in normal run of play, the number 9 or the scrum half would be taking the ball out of the back of the scrum. But the last person that scrum, that number 8 player, will pick it up from her feet and go forwards with it.
And it's looking like in this hot Ontario weather, where they're going to do a water break. I have to say, as I arrived here in July, I was smacked in the face in my first rugby game with Guardian Angels with the heat. I had forgotten what it was like to play in this heat. And it's probably it's hot, but it's not as hot as my first game here. So definitely these water breaks are essential, keeping them hydrated. And they're going to be tired from Friday's game. So they want to ensure that these girls are getting, replenished.
Yeah, they're playing intensive rugby. Certainly, they're on defense. Both teams are playing a lot of strong defense, and it just allows them to just stay hydrated, because you need to keep focused, and the more that you're dehydrated, you get unfocused. So you can see the Saracens have even taken to the shade in the end zone.
The shade in the tree line there.
Kind of telling you a little bit how warm it is here.
It is quite warm, but it is great place to play here at Fletchers Field. Fletchers Field has 6 rugby pitches. The 6 rugby pitches are surrounded by vast agricultural land, but since I started playing rugby here probably in 1996, definitely a lot more development, a lot more condos and homes are being built around it, but it still has that same feel that you're dropped in the middle of nowhere to play your league matches, which it's kind of comforting, and then afterwards we head into the clubhouse, socialize with all the 50 million teams, not 50 million, that's an exaggeration, that are playing that day.
Yeah, it's been again. I moved to Toronto in '92, and even more so, not a lot of development around, and it really is kind of the home of rugby in Ontario.
Definitely.
And it's wonderful to come back here and see. If you come up to the clubhouse, you can see that there are old national team jerseys commemorating different internationals that have been played here. Certainly, there's been a lot of development. They put money into this pitch in particular for the Pan Am Games 4 years ago. We have the grandstands here, but it's a wonderful facility, and it's and the banquet is here afterwards, so it's a great place to come.
Yeah, a lot of memories here for Mo and I. I know I've been playing for over 20 years, and Mo, I don't want to. Well, you're over 30 years. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, we have a scrum on the far side. We have a scrum on the far side of the pitch, and there's some disruption there. The ref is resetting it.
Yeah. And again, the game really has been played in the 2-22s. So there's some great line breaks by both teams happening in the middle of the field, but then the defense really gets strong when they get in that red zone that we talk about, so within the 22s.
So again, Charlottetown, a little bit of a wheel this time. Toronto Saracens tries to kick it out of their 22, so they will get that line out where it went outside.
And that's one of the particularities of rugby also. So when the Toronto Saracens there are defending, they kicked it out. And the ball, because they're behind that 22 line, the solid line, the first one solid line up that you see from the try line, the goal line, because they kicked from behind that, the ball will be thrown in a line out from where the ball crossed the line.
Nice line out from PEI. They went to the second jumper, or further back at least in the line out. Quick out to the middle of the field. What a break there. Excellent break by number 7 from Charlottetown, Nikki Triantafilu. I like saying her last name. Great last name. Nikki, great job running it through the middle. And that will be the second try for Charlottetown RFC.
And funny you say that, Mars, because we asked the players for information from them, and Nikki's comment was that her name is commonly mispronounced.
I hope I pronounced it properly.
And the correct pronunciation is Triantafilu. And Nikki says she's super excited for her PEI gals to, I'm not sure if I'll say this right, give her Baddock at the national tournament this weekend.
That sounds like some PEI slang there.
Give
her Baddock.
And I'm sure I didn't say it correctly, but anyway. But Nikki is actually currently studying to become a respiratory therapist, and she's going to be going to Thompson Rivers in BC. And she's going to be moving there in the fall. So
all you BC clubs out there, check her out, or she'll be playing for Thompson Rivers. I think they might actually have a team here.
Yeah. But certainly she'll be happy to have scored that try for her team, and that puts them up. They made the conversion, so that'll put them up 14-7.
And it is. The score is now 14-7, and we have just about 10 minutes left in the game.
10 minutes left in this half.
In this half. Sorry. Thanks for keeping me on track. This half.
No, you didn't join in the second half. Viewers, we're happy that you're here with us.
And Toronto Saracens have just been scored on, so they will be kicking to Charlottetown RFC.
And again, you can see the Saracens right in front of us. They're all lined up behind that line. When the ball is kicked, they have to be behind the ball. If not, they'll be considered offside.
Nice take by number 13, Alicia Corrigan. We've mentioned her before, an experienced player, but a little bit of a knock on. So we'll scrum down here. And this will be Toronto Saracens' ball. Toronto Saracens is probably looking to sort of tighten up their scrum. They have the ability to demonstrate a stronger dominance in the scrum, but currently Charlottetown has been a little bit more dominant in that regard. Toronto Saracens are positioned well, and they're looking to attack.
Yeah,
Balls in,
the
goes
two
straight to
centers
8.
just switching spots there.
And it looks like we have a swap there. Good old swap. Number 13 takes it on an angle, or some might say it's a bit side, but she gets around. She has a speed. Number 13 has a speed. Irene Petrinos, she is another experienced player, but we might have a flag on the far side. We might have a flag there. She might have stepped out. The referee is going to acknowledge that. What a great run by Irene Petrinos. She was almost in, but she's getting some great territory for the Toronto Saracens, exactly where they want to be.
And as you said, it was a swap. There was some movement before she got the ball. She took it on an angle. As you said, it looked like she was maybe going a little bit sideways across the field, but trusted her speed.
Turned it up.
Yeah, trusted her speed.
Yes.
Made that cut up just a little bit too wide.
It actually reminded me of playing against Heather Moyce in university. She's lateral. Oh, no, she got around. Yep. And that was a line out. Line out goes to Charlottetown. They're going to run it out here. They may be looking to set up for a kick.
I think that was big number 3, Ellen Murphy. She did some great runs on Friday when I was watching. Really strong player, does well with the ball in contact.
And they're setting it up here, and then we see the kick. And
again,
doesn't get as much ground as probably she'd hope, but it's just outside the 22.
Yeah, and again, often you'll see that the teams who are kicking when they're in their red zone, when they're backed up towards their try line, they'll kick for touch, and that just relieves some of the pressure, allows them to gain some territory. Yes, the other team gets the ball, so now Charlottetown kicked that out, so it's the Saracens that are going to be throwing it in, so they have the advantage. They know where the ball's going. They have the timing, the hooker and the jumper. They practice hours and hours of getting that timing down, knowing where the ball's going to go so that they can bring it back on their side.
Excellent. We'll see what kind of line out Toronto Saracens. They get the ball up. A little late to contest there from Charlottetown, so they get the ball. High ball there, but but Petra Woods gets through, passes off to Nat, tries to get it out wide to number 14, Maddie Shea. But unfortunately, it just doesn't quite go to hand. Number 11, Steph Hovdestend.
Yeah. So that was just unfortunate. Charlottetown did enough to disrupt the timing of the pass, disrupt the timing of the forward momentum of the runners. That the uncertainty of where the pass was going to go, having to slow down to catch that pass. But good movement of the ball, great line out, got a clean ball away. Certainly allowed them to open up the field, and now they're within the 22 again. And
the Toronto Saracens backline is looking a lot more dynamic than they did against Club de Rugby de Québec, so they should be happy with their performance at this point. There's just low pass there. Doesn't quite, tries to do the kick, but gets shut down. And I think Toronto Saracens have gotten that ball back, so this is exciting. They're going to want to move the ball away from the breakdown. Turnover, and the turnover like that. Tries to get it out wide to Nat Tam. A little shifty. You never know what she's going to do with those shifty feet of hers. And again to Fidela Omagon. She's their captain. She gets pushed back a little bit, but I think Toronto Saracens have still maintained possession of this ball. They have options here. Someone looks to have picked over the breakdown. They're moving forward. And we're probably going to get some sort of call, maybe hands-on. Toronto Saracens will get the ball. So you saw just how important it is to be when you're back up against your line in that red zone. There was one knock-on, a kick that was blocked. And a great run here. Petrus, Nat Tam, she slides it in over the try line. Great ball movement by Toronto Saracens for their second try of the game. The score is now 12-14 for Charlottetown RC. This is exciting rugby here. Both teams seem to be going back and forth here. Yeah, and tagging off. And again, so Saracens just really took advantage of it, put a lot of pressure on. They had a scrum. The ball didn't go to hand. The Charlottetown player, I think it may have been, but I'm not certain if it was Emily Keane, tried to kick away from the pressure. Great decision, Toronto Saracens had a lot of pressure on her, and then Toronto Saracens able to jump on that ball, recycle it, bring it back out, and then again, Natalie Tam having a great game, I have to say. Yeah. Friday she was playing number 9. She's a very experienced player. She's getting really making an impact when she comes on the field. And these are the good coaching decisions that coaches will make, moving her from number 9 to a number 15. And also, I mean, if we speak to the kind of players you want versatile, even at club rugby, versatile players that you can put anywhere. I know talking to Tamara last game, she wrote down that she pretty much played every position on the field, except I think she said hooker. Yeah. So having that versatility in your team is excellent. And we're looking to see if they make their conversion. And number 13 for Toronto Saracens is kicking, and that is Irene Petrinos. And I think she's just shy of the post, so they will not get the conversion. The score will stand at 12-14 for Charlottetown RC. Yeah. And talking about the coaching decisions and lineup, it can often be quite contentious, but
Andy Ireland is the coach for Saracens. He's been there. This is his 10th year coaching the Toronto Saracens. Done a great job with building the program. I actually, when I first moved to Toronto way back when, I was actually with the Saracens, had a good team, strong team, and then they folded. So since that time, they've had a few years without a team. Kevin Jones, Gina Minutilo restarted the women's program. They've been building and building. Andy took over 10 years ago and has brought this to the Saracens being one of the dominant teams in Ontario Women's League Rugby.
And a great shout out to my first coaches at the University of Toronto, Kevin Jones and Gina Minutilo, for starting that program at the Toronto Saracens. Toronto Saracens have the ball. Good shifty movement. She gets to her feet, number 10, but she keeps the ball alive. Good hands. We're still going to confirm the name of this player, who I don't think is wearing the jersey that's on the roster, but good run by her. And it will be Toronto Saracens ball.
So the ball did hit the referee there, but she was already playing advantage. So so she certainly wasn't trying to be in a good position. And it's interesting because the referees do try to have as little influence on the game as they can. And sometimes it can be tricky trying to get out of the way of that ball, especially when it's not going where you think it should.
But we want to give the utmost respect to all our referees across the country. They are an integral and important part of the game. And also it's something we're looking to develop in our clubs, giving people options, whether it's coaching, refereeing, sports med staff, administration. A lot of options for people, especially if you know your future may not include national team or provincial team.
Yeah, or even if playing rugby isn't your thing, there are referees out there that, for whatever reasons, whether injuries, in particular, that they don't play rugby or can't participate as a player, refereeing is a wonderful option. You get that rugby family, you get the rugby experience without having to be a part of the playing team.
And Charlottetown have the ball. They're moving it out. They're looking to get it out wide because they definitely have the numbers out there. Great ruck by Toronto Saracens. But I think Charlottetown has still maintained possession. They're going back the other way. What a bosh from the Charlottetown forward, Ellen Murphy. This is probably the same. That was their number 8, Rebecca Chapman, who did a great bosh just before their try down there. But Ellen Murphy takes the ball in.
And Ellen Murphy, again, she had a great game on Friday, having another strong game here. And it says that Ellen has participated in a total of 5 University Sport Women's Rugby National Championships. 4 years at St. FX, and we said how strong they were, and 1 year with the Ottawa BGs, being now coached with a former teammate of ours, Jen Boyd.
Jen Boyd, yes. We talked about last game about all the, it's great to see a lot of women are getting involved in coaching and other sort of management positions, which is awesome.
That was
great pass out. What a run. She's getting down to the middle of the field. What's Nat Tam? It's 1-on-1, 13 against 15, and Nat Tam makes a great tackle. They're fighting there for possession of the ball. The ball pops out to Toronto Saracens. Nat Tam picks it up, passes it out. And great footwork with a handoff. Ball placement long. And a kick. Their number 10, Albie Downing, has some international experience with Ireland. She's still looking to be in the mix, so she's come out here to play some top rugby. I'm sure the Toronto Saracens are glad to have her here.
Yeah. And that was some great open play. We saw some great movement of the ball. Nice wide take from the 8. Not cutting up too close, opening up the space, putting Alicia Corrigan again into some space, breaking that line. But a wonderful try-saving tackle by Natalie Tam.
Yeah, Natalie Tam is having a great game today.
Great.
So we don't, the times, it's saying 41-25 on the screen. We're going by the referee. The referee will let us know when the game is over.
Yeah. What happens is whenever there's an injury on the field, and we did have one player coming off, the referee will stop her watch and stop the game. The timers that we have going here are on running time. So we're basically in injury time right now.
In injury time. It looks like that ball in the lineup was not straight, so it will be Toronto Saracens ball.
And coming up at halftime, we're hoping to have an interview with the two captains of the captains of the two teams of the gold medal game. We know Justine is here already.
Nice run. This is a player to watch. Fidelia Omegon, she is a strong ball runner, but great counter ruck by Charlottetown, making it difficult for them to get the ball out quickly. Number 5, Bosch's at Z work, and we've heard her name before. A little bit, yeah. She might have left herself by herself, but she gets the ball, long placement back. And then looks to go to the side. Number 7, Meg Pakulis. She still makes ground. It was a bit of a tight squeeze, but she gets through. Now we'll see what Toronto Saracens can do. We're going to give the boot to some open space. And that is good position.
And again, that was Alva Dowling, the Irish player from Cork, playing here in Canada, but still in the mix with the Irish national women's team. Trying to just get in behind Charlottetown's defense there.
Now, I think that signal means there may have been a high tackle. There's some sort of high movement. We're getting very focused about tackles that are basically on the neck and the head. Obviously, there's definitely with concussions and just trying to keep the game safe. We don't want anybody getting hurt, especially in that part of the body. So they get another boot there and puts them in almost similar position.
And now this time you'll see that the ball was kicked into touch or out of bounds. And what you'll see now is the team that kicked it out was the Saracens, and they're going to get the put in. So they're going to get the throw in at the line out. And that's because it was a penalty. So if it's in the normal run of play, the ball would have gone to the opposite team or the defending team. Now it's gone to the same team. They have that advantage.
Quick line out there, number 9. 10 pops it off to 7. Number 7, Meg Pakulis. Obviously, Toronto Saracens would like to get a try in before the half ends. Oh, she pops it out to number 12. Great little pass there. Doesn't have to be pretty. Good pressure for Charlottetown. Charlottetown will want to keep them down. They don't want Toronto Saracens to score. That's obvious. But going into the half with a lead is always just mentally, it's a nice place to be.
And it's such a close game. You know, I think Charlottetown will be really happy to keep Toronto Saracens out. And Toronto Saracens, even if they don't score at this point, just can be really happy.
And Toronto Saracens rips the ball, but we have a penalty. Oh, she was hungry for that. That was a great little spin, showing she's a little twinkle toes there. Little spin and run, spin and go.
And one thing to know that even if we are into injury time, we can't end the half on a penalty, which is why the play keeps on going, and this is why Charlottetown has now decided to kick for touch to end the half.
So Charlottetown has kicked it out on their own terms, and they will now regroup, and we're going to head into the second half. This is going to be halftime. And while we're waiting to see if we get some of our captains from Capilano and Club de Rugby de Quebec, we're going to talk to them. But I'll just take a couple minutes to talk about the commentators. Maureen McMahon, I'll give her a little bio. She's all shy and humble, but I'm going to embarrass her. Maureen is my former teammate for the Toronto Scottish. She's a former national team player with 39 caps. She's played both with Quebec and Ontario senior women's teams. She was introduced to rugby while at Cégep in Montreal, coming full circle, ended her career in Quebec, having played and coached with Saint Anne de Bellevue and Montreal Barbarians, and finally Montreal Irish. While in Toronto, Maureen played with the Saracens until they temporarily folded their women's side in 1995, and then played 13 seasons with the Toronto Scottish. And between all that, Maureen managed to spend several seasons playing English Premiership rugby, first for Cardiff, and then which was in Wales, and then for Richmond Ladies. She has coached at the high school, university, club, and representative level, both in Quebec and Ontario. No longer playing or coaching, she continues to be involved and an active alumni and spectator of the sport. So we have our captains, I think, here. Yeah, I'm going to let Maureen do the interview. So I think we.
Justine Pelletier, and I'm not sure who we have from...
I thought I saw the captain. We'll go find her.
Yeah, but we'll start maybe with Justine.
Okay, and you can lead that.
Yeah, so we'll just take a minute and get Justine all mic'd up here, so here you go. Just bear with us. All right, so we're back, and I'm here with Justine Pelletier, and I think we'll do it in French because I know that we've got you guys. Vous avez beaucoup de gens. They have a lot of spectators from Quebec. Alors, on va le faire en français. I'll sum it up in English at the end. Mais Justine, félicitations sur votre match de vendredi. Vous étiez vraiment fort. Comment vous avez trouvé ça?
Merci. Ben, c'est sûr que c'était un très gros match. On était très, très fiers de nous à la fin du match parce qu'on on a vraiment connecté sur le terrain. On a été soudés tout le long. On a su mettre le rythme, on a su jouer notre jeu. Puis c'est ça, je pense, qui est important quand on est dans des championnats comme ça, de montrer au monde, de montrer au Canada c'est quoi notre identité. Puis je pense qu'on l'a très bien fait. Puis aujourd'hui, le défi, ça va être de le faire puis de le faire encore.
Ouais. Alors, parlant de ce match d'aujourd'hui, vous avez vu Capilano jouer vendredi. C'est quoi votre plan de match? Je ne sais pas si vous êtes content de nous dire ça, mais...
C'est un plan de match, au rugby, je pense que c'est important de rester, comme je dis, avoir notre identité. Donc, c'est sûr que notre plan de match va rester le même. On va jouer comme on sait le faire. Ce qui va différer, peut-être, c'est juste le mindset qu'on va avoir, que là, c'est une nouvelle équipe. Donc là, on restart à zéro. Puis là, c'est de tout donner, puis d'être vraiment agressif, puis de continuer à mettre du rythme comme on sait le faire. Puis ensuite de ça, on n'est pas stressé.
OK. Vous n'êtes pas stressé, mais ça a l'air de ça parce que vous êtes tellement calme comme équipe sur le terrain. On voit ça, vous êtes bien connectés. Cette connexion aussi, ça vient de... Il y en a beaucoup entre vous qui jouent pour l'université ensemble, je pense?
Oui, mais dans le club, ça fait... jouer club, ça nous permet, ça fait des fois 3, 4, 5 ans qu'on joue ensemble. Puis à Québec, on a la chance de jouer aussi souvent à l'Université Laval. Donc la plupart, on joue à l'Université Laval, on joue club plusieurs années. Donc on se connaît sur le terrain, puis on se connaît en dehors de terrain. Puis je pense que c'est ce qui fait la différence parce que notre connexion est vraiment forte.
Alors, puis, qu'est-ce que vous avez fait hier parce que hier, il n'y avait pas de match hier. Avez-vous entraîné? Êtes-vous allé aux piscines?
Hier, on était off. On avait une journée off. On voulait quand même profiter de la vie ici à Toronto. On voulait pas se mettre trop de restrictions ou on voulait pas être trop cadré, si on veut. Puis on a décidé que samedi, c'était libre. Puis tout de même, faire attention à nos bobos, essayer de pas trop marcher, boire beaucoup d'eau, des choses de récupération conventionnelle. Mais on a pris ça off puis, pour être justement aujourd'hui prête.
OK. Bon, mais merci beaucoup. On va prendre un petit peu de temps pour l'autre équipe. Bonne chance pour le match.
Merci beaucoup.
And now I have here with me Jessica. She's one of the captains. You guys have 2 captains, right, for Capilano?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Welcome, Jessica. You guys must be so excited for your match today. How did you find your match went against Charlottetown?
It was a great match. They're tough competitors. They really pushed us to our limits, and I had a lot of fun playing with them.
Good, good. And, of course, today you've got Rugby Quebec. We saw how dominant they were in their game. Totally different. We don't know kind of exactly what the levels will be. What are you guys kind of looking at for today?
We're looking for a very strong competition. It's going to be a hard-fought game, and I think it's going to be well-matched right down to the very last 80th minute.
Yeah. Certainly, I think you only have one change in your whole lineup, so you've got you guys also. You're ready to go. You guys are coming in without having played up until this, right? You're going. This is not your in-season. How has it been for you guys getting game ready for this heat?
It's been a different situation for us. We come from the West Coast where it's a little bit rainier, it's a little bit cooler, but we've put in a lot of time, effort to get here and doing as much as we can to really push forward and take the advantage of having that break time between finishing our season and coming here and being as ready as we could be.
Yeah, and putting the commitment to come all the way over from the West Coast just for these 2 games. We really appreciate it. What did you guys do yesterday?
Yesterday we took a trip down to Toronto Island, which was fantastic.
Wonderful.
We had a wonderful time.
Great. So you guys will be all rested too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good luck in your game. We're really looking forward to it.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jessica.
Bye.
So we're back to the second half of the bronze medal game at the inaugural Women's Canadian Rugby Championships here in Markham, Ontario. We just had an interview with both the captains of Capilano and Club de Rugby de Quebec. So they are looking forward to it. It's going to be a great match, a great gold medal game. But we're right now focused on this game because this has been an awesome match here, back and forth between Charlottetown RFC and Toronto Saracens. The score is currently 14-12 for Charlottetown RFC. And the kick goes back to number 14 for the Toronto Saracens. She takes it and goes towards the middle of the field. She doesn't get the offload, but she keeps possession of the ball. And they move it out. And we talked about Alba Downing, their number 10 international Ireland player. She said she's trying to stay in the mix. Obviously, still aspires to play at that international level. Nat Tam makes a quick pop to her teammate. Pick and go. Drives it up the gut.
And you can see how Toronto Saracens are protecting that ball. They're gathered around the ball. You can see them setting that platform so that Charlottetown can't come against them. They have that platform to move the ball from.
Now this is a little bit slower. When you're doing a pick and go, usually the pick and go is going to be on a slow to medium pace ball. You generally don't want your forwards picking and going when it's like fast, clean ball. So they're looking to tie them up, but we seem to be a bit muddled here in the middle of the field. We'll just sort of wait for one of these teams to sort of take it forward. And here we go. We're off to the races. And smart decision. Oh, but she was too high in contact. Number 3 from Charlottetown, Ellen Murphy, just took that ball and way too high, got it stripped from her. 2 strong forwards fighting for the ball. You got to get that ball low. Number 4 from Toronto Saracens. Chelsea Braithwaite. Quick pass out, swap ball, but doesn't quite make it to hand. But we're going to play the advantage. What a bosh! Excellent job, good speed. But Nat Tam is also a fast player, and ball goes backwards, and they make the turnover. That was number 12 that went for the run for Charlottetown. That was Annika Dykeman. Great run by her. Nat Tam is fast, though, and she made the tackle, forced the turnover.
Yeah, that was a great run. Again, Nat Tam getting involved in the run of play. Looking good. And again, Ellen Murphy being strong with ball, but perhaps, and that's one of the great things, playing above the level that you used to. She's a big, strong girl, but, Saracens also has a lot of big, strong girls too.
And that's something you learn, the more competition. We have to remember a lot of these teams have gone undefeated or lost one game. So this is going to be some tough competition for them. The things that you sometimes get away with against teams that aren't as strong are things you can't get away with at this level.
Yeah, and that's why, Saracens are dominant in their league here. That's what we heard. Charlottetown has won 2 consecutive years in their Nova Scotia league. So to get out of your provincial competition sometimes is, you have to now play teams that you don't know, players that you may not know. Some of them at the national team settings will know some of them a little bit. So it's a lot of thinking on your feet, a lot of problem solving when you're on the field, having to read the game. So it really stretches you as a player, stretches you as a team, stretches the coaches too to adjust to new competition, new levels of competition, and again, athletes that are at the top of their game.
And we have a penalty for Toronto Saracens here. Looks like a little bit of a rollabout there. Gets up, number 1 for Toronto Saracen. Gets up, Michelle Yu. And they're going to kick for territory. But the ball looks like it's going to stay in. And number 6 for Charlottetown takes a great Megan Larkin. Great run. Sets it up. Ball back. And they have some space, but number 12, great ball. It's nice inside pop.
Again, we see Charlottetown trying to spread that ball wide, trying to stretch out the Saracens' defense.
A little messy in the breakdown, but they still get the ball back. Good pressure from Toronto Saracens. Charlottetown haven't gone very far. It's getting a little sloppy. And a nice pickup there from the Toronto Saracens. Can't see their number, but good pickup. And we've seen this player, number 5, Z Warkin, is not messing about. Good drive there, side of the ruck. And the boot. And number 12, Petra Wood, has a lot of energy. She chases it down, and it gets some great position on the other side of the field.
What a great, well-placed kick from Alva Downing. Really got them quite a bit ahead, rolled safely into touch, out of the hands of Capilano. Great work. And we can see also the strength of those Saracens forwards, They're really strong. A lot of them coming out of the Turf organization, which is one of the sponsors of this tournament, Toronto Inner City Rugby Foundation. And they've done a great job just bringing those players up that may not have had other opportunities to play rugby.
And we have a lot of the volunteers here today at today's tournament, helping out Devine and the committee with organizing today as well. So thank you to the Turf organization and its players for supporting this tournament as well.
Okay. And now this is another lineup. We would call this an attacking lineup because the Saracens are on the attack. They're maybe about 10 meters, 7 meters out from the try line. In a really good attacking position, and unfortunately an error in the lineup, but we'll see what Charlottetown can do with it here.
So we have a scrum here, and again we know the potential. We have a player down, and this is probably not a player we want. Toronto Saracens is going to want. We don't want any player down, but Nat Tam has had a great game. She seems to be down, but she might just need someone to just take a quick look or need a moment, and hopefully she'll be back in the game. We don't want to see Toronto Saracens lose her.
And maybe I'll take a moment to talk about the Canadian Rugby Club Championship and the pathway here. So Charlottetown has had to play qualifying matches to get here. So Charlottetown actually played the Fredericton Loyalists in a qualifying match to come out of that Atlantic Division. So the strongest team in Nova Scotia League and the strongest team in the New Brunswick League, which was Fredericton Loyalists, they played against each other back at the beginning of June, I think it was. And that was as part of, again, a cross-provincial competition so that they would not normally play against each other. Charlottetown would have beat Enfield Rugby Club to become that champion of the Nova Scotia Rugby Club. So they've traveled and played to play against Fredericton. They were meant to be playing Club de Rugby de Québec for the quarterfinal. Circumstances had that they actually didn't have to, and now they've flown at a great expense to themselves also to come all the way to Toronto to play at this championship. So really the commitment by these girls, both in terms of time, in training, and financially, to come to this championship, you really have to congratulate the whole organization.
And a big shout out, you quickly mentioned Enfield, but they upset the Halifax Tars to get their first berth to a final. So that was really exciting for them to get that berth. They had never been to a final before. The coach, James, said it was a close half between Enfield, but it was a game of two halves, and obviously Charlottetown ended up pulling away for the win. So scrum down here. Ball's out. Straight up run. You got to love that forward rugby. Go forward, the number one principle of rugby.
The Maori sidestep.
Yeah. But, sorry, I have to look closely. I didn't see exactly what that call was. We don't have a monitor in front of us, so we can't see all the little details. We're seeing basically what you see. And
again, Charlottetown is kicking for touch, hoping to get some field advantage, so moving up the field. And because it was a penalty, Charlottetown will have the throw in again. So it's to their advantage to move up the field. They retain possession, although now they will do a line out and try and make something happen from there. We've seen that Charlottetown is, for the most part, trying to get the ball out wide. They've gone fairly quickly. They've got a lot of players in that midfield. So they went with a three-man. They went back to their three-man, and we saw this line out in the last game where they have three of their players walk in, and they went for a further throw as well, which makes it a lot easier for the backs to get the ball quickly. And we can see now that they're already on the far side of the field. They're already approaching half, so that was an effective line out for Charlottetown. Ball's out. Quick pass. Oh, but it's a turnover. And Toronto Saracens is capitalizing on their mistake. Great transition ball. Lots of room on this right-hand side if Saracens can get it out. And it just speaks to the importance of how teams react to turnover ball. You know, moving that ball quickly away from the breakdown, heads-up rugby, and, going forward. So this is an interesting decision. It's a penalty in front of the post on the 22. And, of course, the conversion is worth 3 points, whereas the conversion after the try is worth 2 points. So 3 points with the score like this is probably a very safe decision by Saracens.
Definitely. And I know a lot of probably forwards like me in the heat of the moment would have been like, give me the ball. But this is a smart decision by Saracens to take these points now. These 3 points I'm sure they're going to be thankful for later in the game.
Yeah. Having spoken about Charlottetown and the road that they've taken to get here, one thing I will do is have a shout out to Janice Kugel of Nova Scotia Rugby. She was part of the Canadian Rugby Club Championship Organizing Committee, and she did an awful lot of work to get all those games played, liaising with trying to get the organizing committees, the dates, who was going where, because again, Charlottetown to Fredericton is a fair distance, so trying to organize those games that aren't usually played, and it's wonderful that we get to match up the different teams.
And Mo and I remember the days when we would go to a national championships provincially, and you would play against Manitoba, Saskatchewan, all those provinces. We have such a vast country, so to see some of these provinces we haven't seen in a while is great, especially at this club level, at this high level of club rugby. I'm going to take this, since you mentioned Janice, I'm just going to take a minute to talk about the Canadian Rugby Club Championship Committee and who's involved. The committee consists of the chair, Davine Burton, who's been working tirelessly to get this tournament off the ground. Roger Smith, Hans de Goody, legend himself, Mike Holmes from Pemberton Homes, Janice Kugel, as you just mentioned, Kathy Calderola, Maureen McMahon, the woman herself, Mandy Marchak, Barbara Mervin, and Mark Bryant. And the sponsors for this tournament, we're grateful to the following sponsors for supporting this event: the Canadian Rugby Foundation, Langara Fishing Lodge, Toronto Arrows, Pemberton Homes, Sportside Medical Services, Gilbert Rugby Canada, Aldehard, Aptowella Women's Rugby Apparel, Toronto Inner City Rugby Foundation, Fletchers Fields, Rugby Ontario, and Rugby Canada. So it looks during my talking, the penalty kick was made, so that means the score is now, it looks to be 15-14. And good decision by Toronto Saracens. They're now ahead by 1 point. So after a penalty kick, we go back to a restart here in the middle of the field. Charlottetown will kick to Toronto Saracens, and we're back in the game.
Yeah. And again, a flip of the lead. Exciting game here. Really well contested. And that's play on because it came off her foot.
Z Workin came up hard on that kick, and you can see her there. And they're going to fight for that ball. And a strong number 13 pushes the player out of bounds. That's number 13, Alicia Corrigan.
That's a name we've heard a few times today, huh?
A lot of the importance, and we talked about the importance of having a place for our national team players, all our representative players, to play. Club rugby is so essential for their development, for them to be playing all throughout the season. It's the reason why a lot of girls have headed out west to play more games as well. And unfortunately, right now, we're seeing a player down for Charlottetown.
It might be number 9. No, it's not number 9.
We will check in on that in a moment. We're just going to take some time, obviously. We want to ensure that any injuries are properly taken care of. And it's a good time to talk about Sportside Medical. I've actually just sort of become more familiar with Sportside Medical since playing with the Guardian Angels. Karen Kroback, who is, as far as I know, is the owner of that company, and she's been involved in sort of providing services through her company to Rugby Ontario, as well as with the Guardian Angels, and it seems to be a great service for us to be using. Do you know much about?
I don't. I know that because of the distances to travel, some of the teams here are actually using the trainers from Sportside Medical. Yeah. I met one of them. I was up here last weekend chatting with them, and very knowledgeable. One of the big things is concussions, and they're very knowledgeable about that. I think this is the player that was injured. I think that's the scrum half, Emily Keane. She looks to be doing all right.
But I think Emily Keane may be coming off.
I think that's her.
Emily Keane was... I don't know if it's Emily Keane. I can't see her number.
And that would be a big loss.
Number 11.
Oh, sorry,
guys. That's number 11. Okay. Sorry, that's Maggie Grimmer. So Maggie Grimmer's coming off.
And Maggie Grimmer is a player from UNB, University of New Brunswick. And she's a recent law school grad from UNB, and she's currently completing her articling in Charlottetown PEI, which is how come she's ended up playing with them.
Awesome.
So hopefully she'll be all right.
So I'm sure good person to have on your team. I'm sure as well. Davine Burton, she's also a lawyer, so we tend to ask her some questions as well. No,
so you can see how the players from Charlottetown are rushing to get back, because Toronto Saracens had only 4 people in the lineout, and the opposite team must match numbers. They can't have any more than the attacking team.
Fidelia takes it up the middle of the field. Charlottetown is transitioning well, and they're looking to do that same fast line speed where they shut down the pass on the outside. But we got a kick here from number 1, Toronto Saracens, Michelle Yu. Versatile front row. I always like a front row that can kick.
Being one yourself?
Oh, no, Mo. But I know a few.
A strong front row, maybe not
maybe not a kicker.
We did have, shout out to Al Haas, who would have been very upset with us. We'll put it that way.
We kicked back in the day.
Yeah. So again, another penalty by Toronto Saracens, giving the ball to Charlottetown, and we'll see what Charlottetown chooses to do here.
But what that does speak to, I think it's really important, is that young players coming through recognize that you need to be successful in the sport. You need to have a versatile skill set. You need to have a variety. We call it the tool box. You know, in your toolbox, you need to have a variety of skills. You can't just be one-dimensional anymore. You can't just be someone who takes it up the gut really hard. You have to be able to pass. You have to be able to tackle, decision make, pass, all these kind of things. So for those of you young players who are out here watching these players at the at this high level, keep that in mind when you're aspiring to play at representative levels.
All skills for all positions,
yes.
Right?
Here we go. It looks like some good pace. Gets it to the outside. Good run here on the outside from number 15 from Charlottetown, Kaylee McKinnon. She's tackled. She doesn't quite make it all the way through, but a nice pass out, number 8 to number 7, Nikki Triantafilu. I love saying that last name.
And that was great support on a wide play. They knew where it was coming. They were there to ruck over that ball. Again, all skills for all players.
But we have a turnover here. Turnover to Toronto Saracens. Petra Wood is fighting to stay on her feet. Out back to Fidelia Omegon. She's been everywhere today on the field. She's still fighting. Pushing those strong legs through.
She made a lot of territory on that. As you said, keeping the legs moving. So important when you're in contact.
Yorkin takes it in, sets a good platform for their back line. These are some flat passes, but a nice circle ball giving you an advantage. So that circle ball, we're seeing a lot of teams do it. What it does is it gives you that, turns that 2v1 into almost like a 3v1. It gives you that extra player as they come around. So it's an effective thing to have in your back line. And it looks like they were holding on to the ball, so the referee's giving the ball to Charlottetown, and they take it quickly. Ellen Murphy takes the ball.
Saracens down a player at the moment. Natalie Tam is down with looks like a knee injury.
And this is the second time we've seen Nat go down, so it's a bit concerning. The first time you're like, okay, brush it off, but this is the second time. So hopefully, again, it is something that she can overcome to finish off the game.
And we'll see if Charlottetown can recognize that and take advantage of it.
Good tackle by number 13, Irene Petrinos from Saracens. Good pressure. You can see the sense of urgency on defense from Toronto Saracens. They're coming up really hard. Excellent work there on the defense. That was number 7, Meg Pekulis. And you can see how Toronto Saracens have literally pushed Charlottetown back into the other half.
That's those great positive tackles. Just taking that player, not just satisfied with getting the player to ground, but really driving that player back. And Toronto Saracens, although they're on defense, they're making ground going towards their try line. So great defense by Toronto Saracens. And Charlottetown doing well to retain possession of the ball, so good for them also. Yes. Just getting a little bit pushed around a little bit in contact by Toronto Saracens.
I mean, defense is always going to be tiring, but defense, when you're making positive tackle, makes it a little bit easier. When your teammates are making those great tackles, it definitely makes life easier for you in terms of supporting those rucks and getting realigned. You're not running backwards anymore.
Yeah. So another scrum. There have been a lot of scrums, and these scrums have been really good. They're two solid scrummaging teams. both teams managing to retain possession of each other. And now we're 65 minutes into the game. There's been a lot of forward play. We'll see how the two type fives are faring.
And it's good platform for Fidelia Omegon as she takes that ball hard. Great footwork. She's a mobile number 8. It's a hard runner. She makes the offload, and they've still made it backwards. Tries to get that ball out to Petra Wood. I don't know what they're going to call a knock on there, and it seems to be the advantage for Charlottetown. So we have a turnover. But excellent line speed from the Toronto Saracens player. Good run here from, big hit. It's kind of a swing. I think, yes, they're going to get the advantage back. They didn't really get much advantage on that, so the referee's going to take it back from where the advantage started, and they're going to go quickly. Number 9 kicks it down the field. Emily Keene, their captain. Good space, good pressure, and Emily's there to make the tackle. That's exactly what you want to do when you have the kick. Not sit there and watch, but great pickup. Toronto Saracens finds the ball in hand. And we have some speed on the outside, but can she make the tackle? She makes the tackle, and they're on their own. They must get back up on their feet. She let go, and she's going to try and steal ball now.
That's really important. Not sure. We can't really see exactly what happened from there.
So,
as a player carrying the ball is coming in, as she's on the ground, she must release the ball, but also the tackling player must release that player. So they were both fairly isolated because it was such a great run and such a great cover tackle that they both have to release the ball, release each other, get back on their feet and try to play the game. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it looks like the Saracens player perhaps
was holding on to the ball.
Yeah.
So you could literally see the Charlottetown player bring her arms out to show that she'd released, and then she went for the ball. So and the Toronto Saracens ball player looked like they were holding on a little bit longer than they probably should have. Yeah. Sometimes you got to let it go.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard to let go of that ball, but
it's so hard. You're waiting for your support, I never had to wait long because Marlene was always there.
Just bigging each other up. We
but some great run of play. The Charlottetown recognizing the space in behind, getting the ball back behind the defense into the corner of the Saracens. But Saracens, again, taking that ball, seeing a gap and making a great run and a great cover tackle by Charlottetown. Honestly, guys, a great game of rugby here.
So both teams had difficulty getting their jumpers up, but Charlottetown manages to keep the ball or get the ball. I think it was their line out.
Yep. Yes, because it was a penalty.
Slow ball here, but the ball comes out. Offload. She keeps her hand on the ball. That was a tough pass to take, but she maintains possession. And a good pop out to some space. And looking for the pass behind the tackle. That pass behind the tackle can be really effective. We actually saw Club de Rugby de Quebec do that a lot in their game. They would take the gap, half tackle around the back. Somebody would be coming on an unders line to grab that ball, which was really effective. Oh! She
perhaps was a little that's happened a couple of times. It happened once. That's, I think, the third time now that's happened. There's been a little bit. You're so anxious to shut down the attack. You're off just before the ball is, meaning that you're off that defensive line that they're setting. You're leaving that defensive line, going beyond the ruck just before that ball is out, meaning that you're offside and it's in penalty. So it happened twice in a row there with Saracens. The ref was playing advantage on the first one, and the second one, she was there right in your face, in the face of the Charlottetown player.
When it's too good to be true, it usually is. Usually is referees are like, where did you come from?
Yeah. And shout out to our assistant referees on the touchlines who are mic'd up. So certainly Brianne Freeman is getting assistance from the sideline. So it's one referee with the whole game to see. So for these games, because it is so important a game and because it is there's so many things going on in the field, the referees are mic'd up, meaning that the two assistant referees that you see on either sideline are able to send messages into the referee if they do see things.
No, I'm not sure. I thought I see her pulling into pocket. That's not a good sign when we see a yellow card. I'm pretty sure that was a yellow card on, I can't see the number, but it's one of their wingers for Toronto Saracens. I know she had I think that's Haley Karoom.
Oh, yeah.
It might be Haley Karoom.
And so a yellow card, and that might be for repeated infractions, or it might have been for a high tackle. I'm not sure that's what it was. A yellow card means that the player now must sit out for 10 minutes and cannot be replaced during that time, with a certain exception if it's a front row. So that player now has to stay on the sidelines out of the run of play for 10 minutes.
Which is about the length of time remaining at this point.
Yeah, so the Saracens now will be playing short for those 10 minutes.
So this is not probably what they're looking to have happen at this such a close game. It's 15-14 for Toronto Saracens. That's a big advantage for Charlottetown. What it's going to come down to now is, can Charlottetown find the gaps, find that space that has now been created by one less player?
Oh, it's a little bit static, so you can see that they're just not running onto the ball, but can they make that up now?
So ideally, technically, there should be a hole somewhere. Toronto Saracens can play some great defense right now. And it looks like we're going to have a knockout. She may call keep the advantage. And she's allowing them to play on. Ball's still in. Great bounce, run to the hands of the Toronto Saracens. Good long placement by the Toronto Saracens player. Quick passes. Good defense by Charlottetown. Oh, a kick. They're going to call the knock forward. So that will go to Charlottetown. That was on Meg Pakulis from Toronto Saracens. Unfortunate.
Yeah, so a block kick, almost being recuperated by Meg Pakulis. Just couldn't hang on to it. Would have been great. But again, Charlottetown putting great pressure on Toronto Saracens. They're right up, knocking on the door again. They're 1 point down. They've got to be able to pull it out and keep that pressure on. And it looks like we might be going to another water break.
Another water break, yes.
Certainly.
Important water break, too, because, I mean, at this point in the game, this is where fitness kicks in. This is where, if you're fit, someone who's been a team that's been training and individually and as a team, you're going to see the effects of that on the field.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we'll remind you that we have running clock here, so even though it says on your screens at home 75 minutes and 70 minutes here, because of injuries, because of disciplinary actions, we probably have a fair bit of time left in the game. So the 1 point difference really is, like Charlottetown probably does have a fair amount of time to come back. Saracens still have that time to defend their 1 point lead. So again, this is the last 20 minutes of the game. Let's see how this goes.
See how it pans out. And now these teams have had their refreshments. Water break, get some water in them. It always just feels better mentally to get some water in, that cold liquid going down your throat, and then you can jump back into the game and feel a little bit better.
Yeah. And we'll see. So Charlottetown really has been trying to they've been getting some gaps out wide. Alyssa Corrigan being able to make the gaps out wide. The dominant player for Saracens, I would say, has been their number 8, picking and going, or in the loose, being able to break that line, finding the space. So I think those are two players to watch in this last quarter of the game.
Definitely. And we have a scrum here close to us on the side of the field. Pretty even scrums at this point of the game.
Very stable.
But a good steady platform for them to work off of, but also for the back row defensively to get off and play some defense as we're seeing right now. Back row's right there, the back line's right there. And we talk about the importance of what a scrum can do, especially if you have the advantage and you can push them back.
So certainly a nice stable platform for Charlottetown to attack from. And then they've just trying to get that ball out wide, sideline to sideline, trying to spread the Saracens defense.
Where's the hole going to be, Mo? And number 4 takes a nice run up there. That's number 4, Sophie Carragher.
And Sophie, I believe, is... I'm sorry, I don't have that right. But Sophie is the flanker, but somebody who could probably fill any position on the field within the scrum at the drop of a hat. She's also one of the best individuals to be in charge of their auxiliary cord for long road trips or fun nights out. But
she's currently down right now, I think, though.
Yeah.
again, just probably needs a moment.
Again, she's a back row player. She plays number 8 for the Panthers. Here she's playing number 7 because they have Becca Chapman playing number 8.
That's
Number 4. And that player that was, Sophie playing second row here. Normally plays number 8 for the UPEI Panthers.
And we have another chat with the captains. The referee is, especially at this crucial stage, is looking to sort of have a quick talk, and there must be some things going on that she's not liking, and making sure they send those messages back to their team.
And of course, the captain for Charlottetown is Emily Keane. Emily is known as Captain Keane, their fearless leader. She actually works out a dairy farm in rural PEI, and I think that's really interesting to highlight how, the Saracens really strongly recruit from the inner city. Charlottetown has people that come from a more rural area, and just the diversity of lifestyles and of life situations that we see in rugby, where really it is a game for any type of person from whatever background you're from.
That's what I love about this sport. Nice circle ball to number 10. Good unders line back in. Tying up the defense. A bit slow of a ball movement, but they get it moving. Out to our heavy hitter, number 3, Ellen Murphy. She's left somebody on the field. That was a high bosh, and she's put someone down. Number 8 takes the ball in, and she grapples with the Toronto Saracens player who gets on their feet quickly, and ball is out. So currently, technically, the Saracens have she's come back into the game. We still will have to find the name of that 22 player. And she's back in the game, trying to steal the ball with the counter ruck.
See if Charlottetown can find some space out here. They've certainly got numbers.
Oh, my goodness.
Some great tackles, some great hard-hitting running going forwards. Lots of contest at the ball.
And the ball gets knocked out. So, I mean, two different teams, obviously, but it's great to see Toronto Saracens playing this defense that they're playing today. We didn't see it quite as much against Club de Rugby de Quebec. Totally different games, but still showing the fans and the audiences what they're capable of.
Absolutely. So perhaps overmatched and perhaps not expecting CRQ to be quite so strong on Friday. They've really rebounded. They're resilient. They're coming back. They're leading this match. They're hanging on to the 1-point lead. Honestly, great work for Toronto Saracens. Charlottetown had perhaps a tougher game against Capellanos, perhaps coming in here also quite tired and quite beat up. It was a great game. It was 10-0 at half between Charlottetown and Capellanos. They have a less deep bench, certainly, so they have perhaps less, fewer subs to be made.
And we just noticed that Z Workin, as we said, one of the Toronto Saracens heavy hitters, is coming off the field, and they've brought in a sub. So again, another time in the game where you want some, we call finishers, impact subs, people who are going to come in and make a difference, give you some fresh fire.
Fresh legs, fresh. They've been watching the game, itching to get in, itching to come and finish off that other team, hold on to that 1-point lead. So we'll see. I think that was
great passing here. Number 10 gets it out quickly, but unfortunately, some pressure. He's going to let the advantage go. That's what I like to see. Referees who allow the advantage, keep the game going on. And a nice inside pass. Oh, back out. Excellent work from Toronto Saracens. Good teamwork, great support.
Talking about the impact subs already coming in and making a difference in the game, eh? So we can see Saracens may have numbers on the left. We'll see if they can take advantage of that. Great pass from Alva.
Hard run here on the outside.
She's got support.
She's driving her feet. She gets taken down. And again, we come in quite tight to the breakdown. A little easier to defend, but that also ties in some defenders. Oh, and she slips through. I don't know if that was Petra or not. Somebody slipped through. It might have been Petra. Oh. And held up a few meters off the try line. Charlottetown's going to fight for this. Great defense. They're coming up hard off the line. As soon as that ball's moved, they're coming up quickly. This is what you got to do to protect your try line. And they're up. She must be only meters out. A meter, if that.
And here you see that Brianne Freeman, the referee, was talking to the assistant ref on the other side, getting the consensus of what did you see, making sure that they get the call right. So important right now. 1 point in the game. Saracens just knocking on that door. Charlottetown making some great tackles. We saw it from here right on the side of that maul, driving the player back. Wonderful defense of their try line. And
we talked earlier, I mentioned earlier that I talked to James Voy and just talking about, like, this is an important game for them. This is a game they want to come back to PEI with this win and that bronze and that medal, because it means so much to the young players coming up in the province, and it's just something that's going to be really important to them. So they're going to fight for this right now, and as you can see, as they were coming up hard on the defensive line.
And they're just going to reset. Important that in the scrum that it's as fair as can be. So if they set and they start to engage, that the ref sees that it's going to be fair.
So looks fairly settled. Ball goes in. Ball comes back to number 8's feet. Good platform for Charlottetown. And they're going to run it out first. Good run, good take up, but is she by herself? No, she gets her teammates there, and I think they've won the ball back. And there's the kick. Good take on the fly. That was Marty Alamo. And a good pass outside.
From wing to wing.
Wing to wing. Good work. Number 7, Med Pakulis. She takes it into the hands of number 14. Back to Marty. We've heard her name already. And they still have the ball. This is the momentum Toronto Saracens want. They're down 1 player, 14 on 15. They've done a great job to keep possession here.
And again, they're just that commitment to the ball, commitment, getting the support. This ball started off way over on the left-hand sideline, the wing brought it all the way across to the other wing. And it's hard. It's hard work in this hot weather towards the end of the game, trying to get that support. And they were able to get there.
And a smart decision. They're going to go for that short line out there. Not short, but like close to the try line.
Okay. And it's a decision to make, right? So now they've got a controlled situation. These lineouts, again, they've rehearsed them time and time again. They're timing between the hooker, who's the player that's throwing the ball in, and the jumpers, who you'll see are supported by lifters. So there's one person, or there might be a couple of jumpers in the line designated to be lifted by some of the other players. And then to build on that, the ball can either come down and they can do a driving maul, which might be an option at this point, especially with the strength of the forwards of the Saracens, or to get it out quickly towards their backs.
And it looks like the ball was not straight. So this is exactly what Charlottetown had hoped for. They're going to get possession. They have another opportunity to get themselves out of this situation. They are the team that is down right now by 1 point. They want to get back possession, keep possession, and they have the ability and capability of bringing that ball right back across the try line.
And we saw often at this point teams will kick for touches just to relieve the pressure, but they have great confidence in their runners. They ran a crash ball at the last scrum that was in this area, so we'll see what they do here.
So they take it up again with their number 8, who takes the ball. Number 8 for Charlottetown, Rebecca Chapman.
She's got support right there.
Great support, so they can get the ball out quickly. They're going to take another hit up with their forwards. Again, it's their number 3, Ellen Murphy. Solid ball carrier. Slowing it down a bit, but they want a good platform for their kicker, who can get it out. Oh! But it gets shut down. Can they get their hands on it? They get their hands on, and they're going to have to touch it down in their own end zone. This will take it to the 5 meter.
And Mars, I believe she brought that.
She brought it back in.
So what that means is that because Charlotte Brown brought it back into their end zone, now the scrum is going to be an attacking scrum for Saracens.
So this is going to be a good for Toronto Saracens, not so good for Charlottetown, but they have been solid in the scrum. So this is where they want all 8 as one to really mess up the scrum for Toronto Saracens.
Yeah, so watch for this scrum, because this, as your attacking scrum, this is where, because we're both forwards, this is where you give it all. And as you're defending, this is where you really have all 8 pushing in the scrum.
You can see the hustle, but Fidel got her hands on the ball. She's a strong runner. She sets it up there, and good support there from the Toronto Saracens.
And just calm it down.
And that's what we talked about, that discipline, that calming it down, just set up the platform. Your moment will come. And this looks like they're protecting the ball there for their scrum half, making sure she's protected.
A good defense by Charlottetown coming up, the 2 centers coming up right to close down the options.
Yes, Charlottetown's done a great job of shutting off options for their opposition. They're coming up hard on the outside, and it's forcing those players to go back inside.
And it looks like that was an unintentional offside, perhaps. I think one of the Saracens players may have run into one of her own players.
Oh, okay.
So it's a scrum to Charlottetown. So great pressure by Toronto Saracens, great defense by Charlottetown. Again, the wingers, the 2 centers from Charlottetown, I think it's still Annika and Alicia Corrigan being there, coming up together. We call it taking away the space. So choking off the option, not letting Toronto Saracens have that room to run.
Another contentious scrum here. This time it's Charlottetown, and they're going to do a similar thing. They're going to have their 8 run and take it. The 2 8-men fighting for position. And off to Ellen, who they know will get that ball back to them. And then, again, another run. Quick feet. Great handoff. Running hard. Staying on her feet. Her support is there. There's still time. At the moment, we do not know exactly how much time is left. But they're going to try and get it out to some space. We got a 2-on-1 almost there. There was a 2-on-1. It would have been nice to see there. I think Mo is counting here to see if their players come back on the field for Toronto Saracens.
I'm trying to count, and so she should be on the field again, unless there was some stop time, because it is 10 minutes since the Saracens player was yellow carded.
Oh, and she breaks through. This is crucial right now with the handoff. Number 13 keeps running. She gets back up on her feet. Ball comes back. But Toronto Saracens is right there. Can they keep the ball in? Toronto Saracens.
Again, a great line break by Alicia Corrigan. She's that national caliber player. Just making that line break, going forwards, but a great tackle by the defense of the Saracens to contain her. It was a one-on-one tackle. Those are so scary when you're standing back there, but cool under pressure. And I think that might have been, again, that time has gone off from fullback, so I think it might have been Marty Alemo.
Important line out here, and they get it. Great line out. It was straight, so they're going to call it. Good run there for number 7, Charlottetown, Nikki Triantafilu.
And you can see a lot of the players begin to...
Toronto Saracens may have stolen this ball. I think we have a ball stolen. This is turnover ball to Toronto Saracens. Oh, we have some high flyers there.
So she did well to cover up that ball. She looked like she wanted to kick it, but recognized that there was a risk of having the ball batted down, which we've seen a few times.
And Charlottetown gets the ball back. It still went backwards. Ball went backwards. Out to the winger, number 20, Allison Isles. This is where Charlottetown will want to keep possession. They're moving the ball out to where the space is. Angle ball by number 20 fell out. Straight run up, hard run up. Charlottetown players are going to want to get there and support that ruck. Good pop there to good run. Phase by phase, Charlottetown is getting closer to the try line. Number 2 holds on to the ball. Support's there. Good decision to hold on to the ball.
And remember, it's a 1-point game. Charlottetown just has to get close.
Good hands there. Number 12. And the space, we see the space there on the right side, and Toronto Saracens is calling the defenders over to protect it. And it's just a matter of how quickly can they get their ball to where they want it to be.
Another great pass by Tara Campbell. She's been running that back line, really getting them going forwards, doing really well with that. And Tara Campbell is currently in her 4th year of university at UPI studying kinesiology, and she plays fly half for the Panthers as well as for Charlottetown.
So not knowing how much time is left, this is the time of the game where your leaders need to calm the team down. You need to be disciplined. You know there's time. It doesn't actually take a lot of time to score a try if necessary. As long as you have possession and you keep going and you keep your hands on the ball, you'll get those opportunities. But again, it's that discipline and patience.
Absolutely. Where we are in the field right now, Saracens, being up by 1 point only, have to be really disciplined. If they give a penalty away anywhere kind of within here, in front of the post, Charlottetown has the opportunity to kick for a 3-point conversion, which would put them up. So for Saracens, they have to be really disciplined and not give away penalties. But by the same token, Charlottetown has to be calm and cool and just trust their systems that are going forward and be able to not turn the ball over, not create those penalties that would lose that field advantage that they have right now.
And just like we were talking about, number 13 is going to be going for those penalty kicks.
Again, this is Alyssa Corrigan.
Alicia Corrigan, she is not a rookie. She is an experienced player who has been on tours with the national team.
She's a graduate of UPI, and she graduated in business administration, and is and she continues to work to be part of the Canadian Senior Women's Team program.
And here she goes.
So that
it does not look like the kick, but it's live. The kick doesn't go in, but it's live. And it goes backwards into the hands of the... Oh, and we have a knock-on.
Great adventurous.
Still time left in the game, so this is good for Charlottetown. They're in a good position. They're now inside the 22, even closer to the try line.
That was great adventurous play by the Saracens, keeping that ball alive, trying to run around the outside. Just that little mishandling at the end, the pass just perhaps a little bit too far forward, or the player not quite getting the speed before she grabbed it. So gives a great attacking opportunity now to Charlottetown.
And it might have just been that in this situation, possession. Do we need to get it out wide right now in this situation, or do we need to just keep possession and make sure we secure the ball?
Yeah.
That might have been one of those decisions.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see what happens. This could be the, sorry, not the TSN, sorry, SportsCanada.TV, the SCT turning point.
And we see a great connection between 9 and 10. All weekend long, they've had a great connection between Emily Keane and Tara Campbell, getting that backline going.
Nice! And the off, and we're going to get that call from, knock-on from the Toronto Saracens. It's still Charlottetown's ball. And we know how hungry they are to come out with a win. This is exciting. If you've joined the game right now, you're coming at an exciting time. It is 15-14 for Toronto Saracens. They are defending their try line. Charlottetown is about just outside of the 5-meter.
And we've seen these two scrums are really evenly matched. Both teams have retaining possession. Be interesting to see. Charlottetown tried to push, did a good job of pushing around Capilano's scrum on Friday, last game. So we'll see what happens here. Big scrum.
Important scrum. All you front rows, tight 5, you are hungry for this. This is what we live for.
Yeah. And we've seen that the 8 from both teams have been really active in picking the ball up and attacking the back line. So it'll be interesting to see what Becca Chapman does here.
Yes, both number 8s have played well today. I would say Fidelia Omegan has had a very strong game, but definitely Rebecca Chapman has had her moments, and they're both showing to be very strong ball runners. Scrum looks a little high, but still Charlottetown's moving forward, and they may be looking to do old Mo McMahon moving with the ball there, but they're getting pushed forward by Toronto Saracens. You would have already picked up that ball and gone, Mo.
Well, you saw how that Saracens managed to get a wheel on that scrum, which put the 8 further towards the sideline or farther away from where she wanted to go. So it was a good defensive scrum by Saracens.
Okay, ball's in the middle of the field in front of the posts. And we see what call we have here. And we have a knock-on for Charlottetown.
Another scrum. This is just energy zapping. And yet they must be both so energized because this is such, they're right in front of the post. Saracens are just hanging on to that lead by 1 point. Charlottetown, they can taste it. They're almost there. They're right there. They're knocking on that door. So hold on to your hats, guys. This is not done. This is certainly not
And
done
we
yet.
have no clue when it's ending, folks, at this point. This is just as exciting for us as it is for you.
Yeah.
Scrum in front of the post. Again, it's going to come down. This is going to be an important scrum.
Charlottetown was able to put a lot of pressure on.
And Charlottetown is doing what they should be doing, putting pressure, and they're kicking it out. They must know. They knew the time. They knew this is all they had to do was hold on to the ball. Toronto Saracens have won this game by 1 point. Score 15-14 for the Toronto Saracens. Unfortunate loss for Charlottetown PEI. But what a great showing from Toronto Saracens after a 0-60 loss to Club de Rugby de Québec.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was like just an excellent game. We saw two different styles of play. Certainly Charlottetown making lots of line breaks through their centers. Saracens really brought it with their forwards. So evenly matched. The scrums are really evenly matched. The line out set piece was well done by both sides. And right down to the very last play of the game. Congratulations to both teams. We've all been really entertained here. I hope at home you have been too. Congratulations to Charlottetown for traveling and coming all this way and really giving us a great game of rugby. To Toronto Saracens for coming back from such a tough game that they had on Friday. So this has been a great game.
And so we will now gear up for the game of the day. 2:00 p.m. we will see Capilano RC from North Vancouver playing Club de Rugby de Québec from Quebec. It's going to be a big game. If you are just tuning in, you want to stay around. We are going to find Sandro Fiorino. I know he's here somewhere, and we're going to have a quick chat with him. We're going to take a 1-minute break. Oh, he's right under my nose there. Sandro's going to come into our booth.
At halftime, I think.
At halftime. Sorry, I'm a liar. I'm a big liar, guys. Sandro will be talking to him at halftime of the gold medal game. So we'll prep him. He's going to relax. He's looking pretty cool in his shades. But we'll be back in just a moment.
And, of course, Sandro is the current National Women's Senior 15s coach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is. All right, folks, tuning him back in for the 2:00 gold medal game. If you're missing it, you're not there.